Hey, you okay?
Yeah, just nervous about school.
You've got this. I'm proud of you. I'm going to the office.
Okay,
See you tonight.
bye.
Sound of glass shattering echoed through the small apartment as Mark's trembling hands lost their grip on his coffee mug. He stared at his phone in disbelief, the email from Westridge Elementary still open on the screen. Parent-teacher conference, 2 parents expected. Such a simple phrase, yet it felt like a dagger to his heart. 2 years after losing Claire, and the world still expected her to be there. 2 parents. The reminder of what Lily no longer had, what they both had lost, was sometimes more than he could bear. If you're feeling this story already, please hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of storytellers and dreamers. Your support means everything, and I promise this journey of love, loss, and second chances will be worth every minute. Mark knelt to pick up the ceramic shards, his movements mechanical. At 34, he'd become an expert at going through the motions, making lunches, checking homework, braiding hair with clumsy fingers that never quite got it right. He'd learned to smile through parent nights and dance recitals, to answer the painful questions about mommy being in heaven, to be both mother and father to a little girl who deserved so much more than his broken attempts at normalcy. Daddy? Lily's small voice came from the hallway, her 7-year-old frame silhouetted in her unicorn pajamas. Did something break? Just a mug, sweetheart, Mark said, forcing brightness into his voice. Go back to bed. It's late. Was it Mommy's mug? She asked, her voice small but perceptive in that way children sometimes are, seeing through the facades adults construct so carefully. Mark paused, looking down at the blue ceramic pieces. It wasn't Claire's mug, that one remained untouched in the cabinet, preserved like a museum artifact, but he couldn't bring himself to correct her. I'll get a new one, he said instead. School tomorrow, lily pad. Back to bed. After tucking her in again, Mark returned to the kitchen, sweeping up the last of the broken pieces. The apartment felt suffocating tonight, too full of memories yet somehow hollow. 2 years of single parenthood had taught him resilience, but some nights the weight of it all pressed down until he could barely breathe. The parent-teacher conference was scheduled for Friday. 3 days to figure out how to walk into that classroom alone again, to sit in those 2 small chairs and hear about Lily's progress, to see the flash of pity in Ms. Winter's eyes when he showed up solo. 3 days to prepare for the inevitable questions from Lily afterward about why other kids had 2 parents at their conferences. Morning came too quickly, as it always did. Mark moved through their routine with practiced efficiency: breakfast, hair brushing, teeth checking, backpack packing. Lily chattered about her science project on butterflies, her words tumbling out in excited bursts that reminded him so much of Claire it physically hurt. And Ms. Winters says we might get to release them when they hatch. Can we take pictures to show Mommy in heaven? Mark nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. She'd love that, lily pad. The drop-off line at Westridge Elementary moved slowly. Mark watched as Lily gathered her things, her dark curls, Claire's curls, bouncing as she moved. Love you to the moon, he called as she climbed out. And back again, she finished their ritual, blowing a kiss before skipping toward the entrance. Mark watched until she disappeared inside, then pulled away, heading to the architectural firm where he'd worked since before Lily was born. His partners had been understanding after Claire's death, allowing him flexible hours and work-from-home days when needed. It wasn't the career trajectory he'd once imagined, but it kept a roof over their heads and food on the table. These days, that was enough. The workday passed in a blur of client meetings and blueprint revisions. Mark was finalizing a design when his phone rang, the school's number flashing on the screen. His heart immediately raced. Calls from school never brought good news. Mr. Davidson? This is Nurse Garcia from Westridge. Lily had a fall during recess. Nothing serious, but she's a bit shaken up and has a scraped knee. Could you come pick her up? 20 minutes later, Mark was signing Lily out at the front office, his daughter's tear-streaked face brightening slightly at the sight of him. Her knee was bandaged, and she clutched a small ice pack. "What happened, sweetheart?" he asked as they walked to the car. "I was trying to do the monkey bars all by myself," she explained, her voice still wobbly. "Mommy used to help me, remember? She'd stand underneath and count for me." The casual mention of Claire, so natural in Lily's world, hit Mark like a physical blow. "I remember," he managed. "Maybe we can practice at the park this weekend." As they drove home, Lily's mood improved, especially when Mark suggested ice cream as a special treat. They sat at their favorite parlor, Lily with her strawberry scoop and Mark with coffee, their usual orders. "Daddy," Lily said, licking her spoon thoughtfully, "Zoe's mommy is coming to help with our butterfly project tomorrow. Could you come too?" Mark hesitated. Taking more time off work wasn't ideal, but the hope in Lily's eyes was impossible to resist. "I'll see what I can do," Lily pad. That night, after Lily was asleep, Mark sat on the balcony of their apartment, nursing a beer and staring at the city lights. Claire had loved this view, had insisted on this apartment despite the higher rent because of the way the skyline glittered at night. Magic, she'd called it. Now he paid the rent alone and wondered how many more years he could justify the expense for a view that only reminded him of her. His phone buzzed with a text from his sister, Jen. Checking in. "How are you two holding up?" Mark typed back, "We're okay. Lily fell at school today. Parent-teacher conference Friday." Jen's response was immediate, "Want me to come with you?" He appreciated the offer but declined. Jen had her own family, her own life. He couldn't keep leaning on her forever. Besides, Lily needed to see that he could handle these things on his own. That they would be okay, just the two of them. The next morning, Mark rearranged his schedule to spend an hour in Lily's classroom. The butterfly enclosure was set up near the windows, mesh netting containing several chrysalises hanging from small branches. Lily proudly showed him her journal where she'd been recording observations, her handwriting careful and deliberate. "Ms. Winters says mine is the best journal in the class," she whispered, beaming. "That's because you're brilliant," Mark told her, meaning it. As the children gathered around for the lesson, Mark noticed the teacher for the first time that day. Ms. Winters was younger than he'd expected, probably early 30s, with warm brown eyes and a patient smile as she corralled 20 excited second graders. She spoke with genuine enthusiasm about metamorphosis, holding the children's attention with ease. "Thank you for coming in today, Mr. Davidson," she said as the children dispersed to their tables for an activity. "Lily's been so excited about your visit." "Happy to help," Mark replied, suddenly aware that he hadn't had a real conversation with an adult woman who wasn't family or a coworker in months. "Lily talks about your class all the time." Ms. Winters, Emma, according to the nameplate on her desk, smiled. "She's a wonderful student. Very thoughtful. She asks the best questions. Gets that from her mother," Mark said automatically, then inwardly winced at bringing up Claire. But Emma Winters just nodded. "Lily's told me a lot about her mom. She sounds like she was an amazing woman." The simple acknowledgement, without pity or awkwardness, caught Mark off guard. "She was," he said quietly. As he prepared to leave, Emma handed him a folder. "Some information about our upcoming field trip to the botanical gardens. We'll need parent volunteers if you're interested." Mark took the folder, noticing the small butterfly sticker she'd placed on it, a touch that seemed characteristic of her thoughtful approach to teaching. "I'll check my schedule," he said. Walking back to his car, Mark realized he felt lighter than he had in weeks. There was something about Emma Winters' classroom, the colorful displays, the engaged children, her obvious passion for teaching, that radiated a warmth he'd almost forgotten existed in the world. Friday arrived too quickly. Mark sat across from Emma in her classroom, the tiny chair making him feel oversized and awkward. Lily's artwork decorated the walls, bright butterflies and carefully written stories about family. "Lily's doing exceptionally well academically," Emma began, opening a portfolio of his daughter's work. Her reading level is above grade expectations, and she has a natural aptitude for science. Mark nodded, pride momentarily overshadowing his discomfort. She loves to read. That's all Claire, my wife. She was a literature professor. Emma smiled. That explains a lot. Lily told me her mom used to do different voices for all the characters. She did, Mark confirmed, surprised that Lily remembered those details. I try, but I'm not nearly as good at it. I'm sure you're better than you think, Emma said, her eyes kind. She hesitated before continuing. Socially, Lily is well liked, but I've noticed she sometimes holds back from group activities. She watches more than participates, especially on the playground. Mark's chest tightened. Since Claire died, she's been more cautious. The fall yesterday wasn't like her. Usually, she's afraid to try things without someone there to catch her. Emma nodded, understanding in her expression. That's not uncommon after loss. Children often become more risk-averse. She paused. We have a school counselor who specializes in grief support for children. Many of our students find it helpful to have a space to talk about their feelings outside the home. Mark's first instinct was to refuse, to insist he could handle Lily's emotional needs himself, but he forced himself to consider the suggestion. Do you think it would help her? I think it might, Emma said gently. Lily is incredibly resilient, Mr. Davidson. You've done an amazing job supporting her. This would just be another resource for both of you. By the end of the conference, Mark had agreed to set up an appointment with the counselor. As he stood to leave, Emma handed him one last paper, a flyer for a parent support group that met monthly at the school. It's for all kinds of family situations, she explained. Single parents, blended families, grandparents raising grandchildren. They share resources, advice, sometimes just coffee and conversation. Mark took the flyer, doubting he would go but appreciating the thought. Thank you, Ms. Winters. For everything you do for Lily. Emma, please, she said with a smile. And it's my pleasure. She's a special girl. As Mark turned to leave, Emma called after him. Mr. Davidson, Mark? The field trip is next Friday. We could really use your help if you can make it. Something in her voice, a note of genuine hope, made him pause. I'll be there, he found himself saying. The weekend passed in a blur of normalcy, grocery shopping, laundry, a trip to the park where Mark stood beneath the monkey bars counting for Lily just as Claire once had. Sunday evening found them on the balcony, eating pizza and watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Daddy, Lily said, her voice thoughtful, I like Ms. Winters. I like her too, Mark replied, surprised by how true the statement felt. She's a good teacher. She has the same favorite color as Mommy, Lily continued. Purple. And she laughs like her sometimes. Mark glanced at his daughter, wondering where this was going. Lily rarely compared anyone to Claire. Is that okay? He asked carefully. That she reminds you of Mommy sometimes? Lily nodded, taking another bite of pizza. Mommy would like her. She likes nice people. The simple certainty in her voice brought unexpected tears to Mark's eyes. Yes, she does, he agreed, using the present tense as Lily always did when speaking of Claire. The following Friday, Mark found himself back at Westridge Elementary, this time boarding a school bus with 20 excited second graders and a handful of other parent volunteers. Emma greeted him with a warm smile, clipboard in hand as she organized the children into groups. You're with me and 4 students, including Lily, she told him, handing him a list of names. We're focusing on pollination and seed dispersal. The botanical gardens were in full spring bloom, pathways lined with vibrant flowers and informational displays. Mark found himself enjoying the outing more than he'd anticipated, watching as Emma engaged the children with questions and activities that had them fully absorbed in learning. During lunch, while the children ate at picnic tables under another parent's supervision, Mark and Emma found themselves alone for a moment. "You're good at this," she observed as he helped organize the afternoon scavenger hunt materials. "Architecture involves a lot of organizing," he explained with a small smile. "Though usually with fewer juice boxes involved." Emma laughed, the sound genuine and warm. "How long have you been an architect?" "Almost 12 years now. Claire and I met in college. She was studying literature, I was in the architecture program. We used to joke that she built worlds with words while I built them with blueprints." The memory surfaced without the usual accompanying pain, surprising him. "That's beautiful," Emma said. "Lily mentioned you designed your apartment building?" Mark shook his head. "Not the whole building, just our unit's renovation. Claire had very specific ideas about the perfect home." "And did you create it for her?" Emma asked. "I tried," Mark said softly. The balcony was non-negotiable. She wanted to see the stars at night. Emma's expression held no pity, only genuine interest. "I'd love to see stars from my place, but city apartments with good views are hard to come by on a teacher's salary." "Where do you live?" Mark asked, realizing he knew almost nothing about her. "Riverdale District. Small place, but it's close to a great bookstore and the farmer's market, so I can't complain." Their conversation was interrupted by a student calling for Ms. Winters, but as they rejoined the group, Mark found himself wondering what books Emma liked to read, whether she preferred fiction or non-fiction, if she ever sat on her balcony, if she had one, and watched the city lights like Claire used to do. The thought should have felt like betrayal, but somehow, it didn't. The weeks that followed brought subtle changes to their routine. Lily began seeing the school counselor once a week, coming home with art projects that expressed her feelings in colors and shapes. Mark noticed her laughing more freely, taking more risks on the playground, speaking about Claire with less sadness and more fond remembrance. Mark found reasons to be more involved at school, volunteering for the spring carnival, helping build sets for the second-grade play, attending the monthly parent group Emma had recommended. Each time, he found himself seeking her out, their conversations growing longer and more personal. He learned that Emma had moved to the city 5 years ago after teaching in rural communities. That she loved historical fiction and documentary films. That she had a sister in Seattle and parents who still lived in her hometown. That she made terrible cookies but excellent soup. That she'd never married but had once been engaged to a man who couldn't understand why teaching children was more important to her than a higher-paying corporate job. In turn, he found himself sharing stories about Claire without the crushing grief that had always accompanied them. He told Emma about their college days, about Claire's passion for 19th-century literature, about the way she'd insisted on reading Goodnight Moon to Lily every night even when their daughter was too young to understand the words. "She sounds like someone I would have loved to know," Emma said one afternoon as they supervised recess duty together. "She would have liked you," Mark replied, realizing he meant it. Claire had always valued authenticity and passion, qualities Emma possessed in abundance. It was Lily who finally forced him to confront the feelings he'd been carefully avoiding. One evening in late May, as he tucked her into bed, she asked the question he hadn't seen coming. "Daddy, do you like Ms. Winters?" Like her?" Mark froze, caught off guard by his daughter's perceptiveness. "I think she's a wonderful teacher," he hedged. Lily gave him a look that was pure Claire, one eyebrow raised in skepticism. "You smile different when you talk to her. Like how you smile in the pictures with Mommy." Mark sat on the edge of her bed, heart pounding. "Would that be okay with you? If I liked Ms. Winters that way?" Lily considered this seriously, her small face thoughtful in the glow of her nightlight. "Would she be my new mommy?" "No, sweetheart," Mark said gently. "No one could ever replace your mommy. But, sometimes people can have room in their hearts for new love without losing the love that was already there." Lily nodded slowly. "Like how I still love